Today I want to talk about what's next for Tanner Mordecai and all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolks? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. We do the live show at 3 o'clock Central Standard Time on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Got a packed show that I am ready to give you all. But first, I want to tackle a segment about Tanner Mordecai in the wake of the news earlier this afternoon that Spencer Rattler has been named the starting quarterback. For those of you that have been living under that particular rock, nice to have you with us out in the daylight where, yes, what we have all assumed from the day that Rattler got onto campus until this day now has come to pass, along with 11 a.m. kickoffs for OU Kansas State and 11 a.m. kickoffs for OU Texas and pay-per-view 6 p.m. kickoff for Missouri State, where you're going to be able to buy that for $39.95. This feels as normal as it has felt all 2020 for me to be able to say those things. It also feels normal for me to talk about the backup quarterback as the dude that might be most likely to transfer out. Do the names Keith Nichols and Tommy Grady and Trevor Knight mean anything to you? If I say Brent Rawls' name to you, do you have any idea who I'm talking about? That means you are a dyed-in-the-wool Oklahoma fan because you know all of those dudes are eventual backup quarterbacks who made like a tree and got out of here, right? So in thinking about this, I'm thinking about Trevor Knight, who had won the job with a dramatic win over Alabama in 2013 Sugar Bowl, only to lose the job a year later after a terrible performance in the Sweatpants Bowl, Russell Athletic Bowl to some of y'all, with Clemson announcing itself over Oklahoma's dead body to Baker Mayfield. And then there's Lincoln Riley coming in, and the run of quarterback play underneath Riley is unquestioned. It's ridiculously awesome. So the guy that won this job was probably going to be the next great OU quarterback. But one of the things that Riley said in his announcement that Spencer Rattler was named the starting quarterback for the game against Missouri State is that Tanner Mordecai had missed 70 to 75% of preseason camp. And the one thing you gotta be, if you're gonna win the starting quarterback job at Oklahoma, is participating in preseason camp. It's really difficult to win the job if you're not actually out there competing with the other guys to win that job. I include Tanner Schaefer in this quarterback derby because I think he's that good, and I think that Riley wanted to give him every opportunity to win the job. I did not include Chandler Morris because he's a true freshman quarterback and because I don't actually think that he's going to get a shot to play this year unless something happens with Mordecai and Schaefer. To say nothing of Caleb Williams joining the fray in 2021 next year. But now that we know that Mordecai is going to begin the season as the backup, barring injury from Rattler, the question immediately becomes for me, does he stay past January? Because there are a lot of different things at play here, not the least of which is he's a redshirt sophomore, which means he only has 2 more years of eligibility left. But with the NCAA making the rule across all sports that everybody gets a mulligan for this year, everybody gets an extra year of eligibility, he's actually got 3. And that's the same thing to say with a guy like Rattler who's got 4. Now, the way that things have been moving for Oklahoma at quarterback, you're only going to need this year and next year, if you're Rattler, to announce yourself as a first-round draft pick, a quarterback, unless something goes wrong, and then you got a quarterback logjam, and we talk about that down the road. But for Mordecai, a guy that has been in Riley's system, a guy that has learned from not just Jalen Hurts, but also was there for Austin Kendall and Kyler Murray, and a dude that absolutely can spin it coming out of Waco Midway. This is a dude that passed for over 4,700 yards in high school, 1,100 yards on the ground, and took a Waco Midway that's not a traditional powerhouse to a final in a state championship game. However, he might actually, want to play. And seeing as he's only played 6 games in the last 2 years, you can understand why he might be itching to be the guy somewhere. And the way that quarterbacks have been able to move around in this modern college football landscape is unprecedented. Chase Bryce transfers from Clemson to Duke. Kelly Bryant transfers from Clemson to Missouri. Jalen Hurts from Alabama to Oklahoma. And on it goes. Jet Duffy from Texas Tech to Central Michigan. JT Daniels from USC to Georgia. Jamie Newman from Wake Forest to Georgia, and on it goes. So my money would be on a transfer for Tanner Mordecai after January. Once you figure out that you are not the guy and you're not going to be the guy, and I think that Riley would be right to try to help him land somewhere else, because that's what else we have shown, especially if you're in a position to graduate early. And that might be the reason why a Tanner Mordecai might stick around for at least one more year to back up a Spencer Rattler, or at least to try to make it to the summer where he could graduate early, because that's one of the perks of being at OU year-round is you take classes year-round, which is to say that you probably take a full year to semesters worth of classes during the summer during your time at Oklahoma. And if that's the case, he can grad transfer and play anywhere he wants to play right away, even inside the conference. And knowing that Oklahoma would put another dude on the block, if you will, for somebody to go get is not a small thing. However, that did not turn out to be the best thing for West Virginia, as Austin Kendall needed more than Neil Brown to turn the Mountaineers around. That said, I think that Tanner Mordecai has as much an opportunity as anybody else to try to do something. But the guys that have transferred away from Oklahoma or have gone on to do something else after playing quarterback at Oklahoma have not necessarily been great, all right? Like the last dude that I can think of that was awesome, that transferred or did something different at Oklahoma is actually Cody Thomas. And he didn't go play football. He went straight to playing baseball, and now he is rising through the Dodgers organization, and I would expect him to make his big league debut next year because he's just been mashing. But that's what you're looking at, right? You can't look at what Trevor Knight did at A&M. It didn't go that well. You can't look at what even Drew Allen did at Syracuse. It didn't go that well. That is perhaps the worst part about being buried on the depth chart at quarterback for Oklahoma. It means you're good. You're just not good enough to start. That also would clear the way for whomever Oklahoma wants to get in the 2022 class, but we know from Riley's recruiting and how the quarterback position has gone at Oklahoma that the odd number quarterback has been the better quarterback, because it is very rare for a top blue chip 5-star quarterback to want to follow another one in succession. You want that gap year so that you could probably give yourself at least 1 year to be the starting quarterback at whatever school you choose to go to, which is going to make Georgia really interesting to me in the next couple of years, because Carson Beck expects to start, Brock Vandagriff expects to start, and JT Daniels still has some eligibility left, along with guys like Dwan Mathis. So I, like you, am going to continue to watch the QB carousel turn, but if Tanner Mordecai should put his name into the transfer portal at the end of this season, don't be shocked by it. Remember, we were talking about it in August. All right, that's it for me. Deuces.